Right into this explainer. Imagine we're cracking open the door of a high-stakes FBI interrogation room. We're here to uncover the silent language we all speak. Have you ever wondered how an expert interrogator just seems to know when someone is lying? Well, it's not magic, and it's definitely not mind reading. It's actually an incredibly precise science of observation. So today, we're exploring the fascinating world of nonverbal communication. We're going to decode those secret signals that reveal what a person is truly thinking, feeling, and intending to do, absolutely regardless of what words are coming out of their mouth.
To really grasp the power of this, picture this exact scenario from our source material. A murder suspect is sitting completely calmly across from an FBI agent. Now, he's not even the main suspect. He's got a rock-solid alibi, his words sound totally sincere, and he's just patiently answering a string of questions about a weapon. The agent starts rattling off options, watching the man's face super intently. He asks about a gun, a penknife, absolutely nothing. But right when the agent mentions an ice pick, which by the way was the actual unreleased murder weapon that only the killer would know about, the suspect's eyelids drop heavily, and they stay shut until the next weapon is named.
This involuntary reaction right there, it's called eye blocking, and it cracked the case wide open. That one subtle drop of the eyelids proved that our bodies often confess way before our mouths ever do. See, by trying to subconsciously shield his brain from the mental image of the murder weapon, the suspect handed the FBI agent a massive clue. Boom, he immediately became the prime suspect, and he eventually confessed. It's absolutely wild to think that just a simple flutter of the eyelids can literally put someone behind bars.
Moving into Section 1, FBI Agent Secrets, Decoding Body Language. Let's take a look at the brilliant mind who actually caught that microscopic slip-up.
Now, what's really fascinating about Joe Navarro is that his ultimate superpower wasn't cooked up in some top-secret government lab. It was born on the schoolyard. Having moved to the U.S. from Cuba when he was just 8 years old, he didn't speak a single word of English. So to survive, adapt, and just make friends, he had to figure out who liked him and who didn't purely by watching them. He'd look to see if they arched their eyebrows in greeting or maybe squinted in hostility. He basically learned to read bodies like billboards way before he could actually read the language.
And he channeled those raw childhood survival skills into an incredible 25-year career as an elite spy catcher. He penned the foundational material we're unpacking today, really with the goal of teaching us how to instantly scan the people around us with that exact same precision he used to catch terrorists and foreign spies.
Section 2. Nonverbal Basics. More than just words. The absolutely crucial point to understand here is just how much we're saying without making a single sound.
A staggering 60 to 65% of all interpersonal communication happens entirely without words. Just think about that for a second. Over half of the message you're sending right now to your boss or your spouse or your friends, it has absolutely nothing to do with your vocabulary.
Honestly, this perfectly illustrates why text messages so often lead to massive misunderstandings, right? We're missing those essential emblems of truth that our bodies just naturally broadcast. We're constantly communicating through our physical movements, how close we stand to someone, our touch, our clothing choices, and even just the pitch of our voice. Because we aren't always consciously controlling all these little factors, our nonverbal language ends up being way more honest than the words we so carefully put together.
On to Section 3, Actions Speak Louder, the Truth in Movement. So let's dig into the case files and see how this actually builds into actionable detective work.
Let's look at a really horrific case. This was a 97-victim hotel arson in Puerto Rico. Navarro was interrogating a security guard, and the guard's assigned sector was exactly where the fire had started. Now, interestingly enough, the guard showed zero signs of eye blocking or stress when asked point blank, "Did you set the fire?" But when asked where he actually was when the fire started, he heavily eye-blacked and showed massive physical distress.
So what does this all mean? Well, his body language didn't just point to guilt, it pointed to a completely different version of events that broke the investigation wide open. Turns out, he wasn't the arsonist, which totally explains why the direct question about starting the fire didn't trigger him at all. But his negligence, abandoning his post to visit his girlfriend, allowed the real criminals to slip in. Without paying super close attention to exactly which question triggered that nonverbal response, investigators could have entirely missed the truth.
We see this play out again in the Parker Reservation case in Arizona. A suspect verbally claimed he walked past a cotton field, turned left, and went straight home. But as he confidently said, "I turned left," his hand subconsciously pointed right, directly toward the scene of the crime. Navarro spotted this huge contradiction right away. He just made the suspect repeat his story over and over until the lie crumbled and the guy finally confessed. His hand quite literally pointed out his own guilt.
But hey, this stuff isn't just for catching criminals. It's a completely universal skill. A doctor from Texas actually emailed Navarro after attending one of his seminars on reading poker tells. The doctor was like, "I'm using those exact same FBI techniques in my clinic now." By just watching his patient's body language, he can much more accurately diagnose if they're hiding the truth about their symptoms, if they're uncomfortable, or if they're holding back some vital medical history. A real game changer for sure.
Section 4, Purposeful Observation, Reading the World. So, if a doctor can use spy techniques in a clinic, how can we use them in our everyday lives?
The biggest mistake we all make is just walking through life basically blind to our surroundings. It's exactly like Sherlock Holmes told Watson. You see, but you do not observe. This is completely backed up by that famous psychological experiment. You know the one? Where a man in a gorilla suit walks right through a group of students and literally half of them don't even notice because they're distracted by something else. We just lack situational awareness. We miss the subtle foot shifts, the micro expressions, the changing postures of the people sitting right in front of us.
To fix this, we've got to follow Navarro's first commandment. Observation requires effort. You actually have to actively choose to read a room. Think of it like a muscle. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And it's not just about what you see with your eyes. Navarro highlights this perfectly. He points out that you can observe a plumber is in your house just by smelling the lingering cigarette smoke on his clothes before you even walk into the room. It's about engaging every single one of your senses.
Once you make purposeful observation a daily habit, it just becomes automatic. It's exactly like learning to drive a car. At first, you're totally overwhelmed by the pedals, the mirrors, the wheel, but soon enough, you're effortlessly navigating traffic without even thinking about it. When you master nonverbal communication, the whole world opens up to you in high definition. You're going to know when your boss is actually thrilled with your work, when a friend is secretly struggling, or even when a stranger might be a threat. So the next time you walk into a crowded room, ask yourself, what is everyone screaming in total silence? And are you finally ready to listen?